Yeah, that's great. Okay. So let us once briefly recap what we have started our discussion in our previous sessions, and we will move forward with our discussion, right? So, so in our previous sessions, we have started with the what do you mean by compile time error, runtime error, and this keyword, super keyword, and object assignment we have seen, as well as shallow copy we have seen, right? And we have seen the copying handles. If we are going to use the same class handle, whether we can copy, or if we are going to use different class handles, whether we can copy or not. This and all things we have seen. Okay. Now, let us take a scenario in this particular session. Let's say if I'm going to have a class C1. Okay, this is one class where I'm going to have one property int a underscore C1 is one of the property which I'm going to have, and I'm going to display something. So let's say one function I'm going to have function void display, and this function is just going to display that dollar display inside C1. It is just going to display this. Okay, and followed by end function and end class. Okay, so this is a class which I'm going to have, and I'm going to have one more class C2. Okay, and in this class C2 I'm going to declare C1 class handle. How I'm going to declare C1 underscore H. Okay, and this C2 class is going to have one more property which is known as int a underscore C2, and it is going to have some function and some end class. Okay. So what we are basically doing, we have developed a class C2, and inside the C2 class, I have a class C1 class handle. That's it. Okay. Is it clear? So this we are going to see. If we are going to have this type of scenario, what happens if we are doing object assignment and shallow copy? Okay. Is it clear, guys? So basically, if we are going to have class C2, inside this class C2, we are going to have C1 class handle. So this is my class C2. Inside this class C2, I'm going to have C1 class handle declared. C1 class is the body of this class is written over here. And this C1 class handle is declared inside your C2 class handle. Okay, is it clear? Yes, guys, is it clear? Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, so generally, people after studying system Verilog, so they will get confused between child class handle and subclass handle. So generally, by saying this particular configuration, many will think that C1 is child of C2. No, that's not true. C1 and C2 are just subclass handles. Okay, there is a difference between subclass handle and a child class handle that we are going to discuss after inheritance. Okay, I'm just insisting to the people who have studied system Verilog already. So please don't get confused between your child class handles and subclass handles. Okay, yeah. So let me open the playground and let me show you this particular scenario which I'm talking about. So if we are going to have one class handle declared inside another class, and let's see what happens if we are going to perform object assignment, and let's see what is going to happen if we are going to perform shallow copy. Okay, so let me declare it. Let me open this and let me share my screen. Hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to declare a module, and inside this, let's say it is some text. And this class, we are going to have class C1. Okay. Now, here we are going to have a underscore C1. Okay. And let's declare a function void display, and it is going to have a string data type as argument. Okay. And what are we going to display over here is dollar display the value of percentages format specifier I'm going to use, and the value of a underscore C1 is percentage. D, comma, S, comma, A underscore C1. Okay. And followed by end function. I'm going to have an end class. Okay. So just I've declared a class, and inside this class, I'm going to have a property where and also a method and a display function inside this particular method, end function and end class. Now within an initial beginning block, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the handle for this class A underscore C1. Let's say it as C1 underscore H is my handle name. Okay. H1 is one of the handle name and C1 underscore H2. This is one more handle name which I'm going to, two handles I'm going to declare. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to first of all create the instance of my first class handle. How to create it? A C1 underscore H1 is equal to new. Okay. And I'm going to call C1 underscore H1 dot A underscore C1 is equal to 10. Okay. And let me call the display function also C1 underscore H1 dot display. I'm going to call the display function. And if I'm going to call this display function, I need to pass a string argument. So let's say the string is class 1, or let's say first handle. I'm referring to this particular handle. It is first handle. Okay. Now, after this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to perform object assignment. C1 underscore H2 is equal to C1 underscore H1. C1 underscore H2 is equal to C1 underscore H1. I'm going to perform. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write down C1 underscore H2 is equal to C1 underscore H2 dot A is equal to 20. Okay. So this, okay, A underscore C1, right? Or let's declare it as E only. Let's declare it as E. Okay, let me write it down. E. So I'm going to write down simply A is equal to 20, and let me display using my first handle, and let me display using my second handle also. C1 underscore H2 dot display. Second handle, and followed by N and N module. Now look into this code carefully. So I have a module. Inside this module, I have a class and I have a property int A and a function display. Okay, it is going to display the value of A, and from which handle we are displaying also we are going to display it. And this particular class is going to have two handles. One is C1 underscore H1 and another is C1 underscore H2. And I'm updating the property value using my C1 underscore H1, and I'm calling the display function and I'm displaying that first handle. Okay. And the value of A will be displayed. Next, I'm going to perform object assignment over here. Okay. And after performing object assignment, I'm going to write down the value, or I'm going to update the value of A, but using the second class handle, that is C1 underscore H2. And I'm displaying and I'm calling the display function using the both handles. Now, can anyone tell me what is the value that will be displayed here in the two handles when we are going to call the display function? Okay, sorry. Where undeclared identifier C1 underscore H1. Line number 2. Okay, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. So what is that we are going to get if we are doing this particular? What is the displays we are going to get? Yes. Okay, let's see. So this is the first display statement which is being displayed when we are calling this. So first handle, the value of A is 10. Okay, that's fine because the value you have updated to 10. And after object assignment, if you carefully observe, I'm changing the property value using my second handle to 20. And I'm calling the display statement using first handle as well as second handle. You can see first handle, the value of A is 20. Second handle, the value of A is 20. But I've made the changes to A using second handle only, but it is being reflected to first handle also. This is nothing but this is my object assignment. If I'm going to copy the objects using my object assignment, if any changes which are made to the second handle, that will be reflected in the first handle, or else if any changes which are made into the first handle, that will be reflected into a second handle. Is it clear, guys? Object assignment. Yes, 20 and 20. Exactly. Is it clear? Any doubts or any queries in this? Okay, that's great. Okay. Now, let us see the shallow copy. If you are not clear, please let me know so that I can explain it in other way. Okay. Yeah. So let us see the shallow copy. Now, here, since we are doing the object assignment, this is what we are getting, right? So let's say if I'm going to perform the shallow copy, how to perform the shallow copy? C1 underscore H2 is equal to new of C1 underscore H1. This is my shallow copy. Now, what do you think the values that will be displayed? C1 underscore H2 is equal to new of C1 underscore H1. What is that I'm going to be displayed over here if I'm going to perform shallow copy? 10 and 20. So let me show you. So the first handle that we are displaying over here after the first value updation. Okay, that's fine. After copy operation, what is that we are going to do is we are going to update the value in the second handle or in the second object. Okay, and we are calling the display functions of both the handles using the both the handles. So what I'm going to get, first handle the value of a is 10 and second handle the value of a is 20. So after performing shallow copy, for these two objects separate memories have been created, and if any changes are made to this particular property using one handle, then those particular changes will not be reflected inside another object. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? Can you able to differentiate between object assignment and the shallow copy? Please look into it and let me know. Is it clear? No, in the sense, clear or not clear? Okay, and what about others? Uh, what line you want? 30, yeah? Okay. Okay, then in the both the objects you will get the same value only, 10 only. Let me show you. Okay. But our major concern is after copy operation, if we are going to make change in one object, is it going to reflect in another object or not? So for C1 underscore H1, we have created one object, right? Like this, where we have the property A. And for C1 underscore H2, we have created one more object. We have copied it, right? So if there is any change in this particular property, is it going to reflect in the other object or not? That we are basically concerned about. In object assignment, this particular handle was pointing to the same object, but in the shallow copy, both handles are going to have different objects, different memories are being created. Now is it clear, Bhuvnesh and Teja? No, no. This is the example, right, which I've shown you with the code also I've shown you, right? So here, if I'm going to perform the shallow copy, where is it? Yeah, if I'm going to perform the shallow copy, then what is happening? If I'm making changes in the second handle, those changes are not reflected in the first handle. You can clearly see here. So C1 underscore H2 A is equal to 20. Let me show you the console output. First handle, the value of A is 10. It's not at all changed. And the second handle, the value of A is equal to 10. But if you are going to perform object assignment, any changes which are made into the second handle that are reflected in the first handle. Previously only we have seen, right? Yeah. Yeah, Bhunesh, I think you got it now. And Teja, is it clear? Yeah. And others, is it clear? Yes, Bhumesh. Separate memory for both the objects in Sherlock. Not both the objects, both the handles. Okay. Yeah. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? Please respond in the chat box. Okay. Okay. That's great. Now, now let us see one more scenario over here. So let us see this scenario where we are going to have C1 class handle declared inside my C2 class handle. Okay. So let's see what is that we are going to do. Let me declare one more C2, class C2, and here I'm going to have one more property B. Okay. And let me display function void display string s and the dollar display the value of b is percentage d comma b is comma b percentage s. Okay, and followed by end function. Okay, like this I'm displaying. I have a class which is present here, and this class handle I'm declaring over here. How to declare it? Class name followed by class handle. Okay. Now here in the C1 class, I have declared my handle. This is nothing but my C2 class handle. C2 class handle. Okay. Now I'm going to declare a new function. So what I'm going to do in a new function is, let me write it down, C2 class handle. Okay. Now here I'm going to declare a new function. Function new. Here what I'm going to do is C2 underscore h is equal to and followed by end function. Okay. Now, before that, let me comment this and let me show you what is happening if we are not going to use this new function. Okay. Yeah. Now, what is that we have achieved? We have achieved a class C2. Inside this, we have a class C1, or else here it is reverse. Okay. This is class C1, and inside this class C1, I have a class C2. Now, what is my agenda is I need to access this C2 property B, which is present inside my C2. So, how I am going to achieve it? So, using my C1 class handle, that is C underscore H dot, what is C2 class handle? C2 underscore H dot B, you can access it. Like this, you need to access. If any subclass handle is present, you need to access using this particular top class handle dot the subclass handle dot the property. You need to access it. Now here, if we want to access the property B, which is present inside the C2 class handle, and this C2 class handle is declared inside your C1 class handle. How to access it? Simply we are going to write down. Let me write it down. C1 class handle is nothing but my C1 underscore H1 dot. What is C2 class handle? C2 class handle is C2 underscore H. C2 underscore H dot B is equal to 10. This is how we are going to access it. Is it clear, guys? How to access a particular property which is present inside your subclass. Is it clear? Yes. Now let me run this. Is it going to work or not? Yes or no? Is this code going to work or not? No, it's not going to work. Why? Can anyone tell me? Okay, sorry. But that's not the correct reason. Okay, that's a syntax error. Okay, okay, it's not running. What may be the reason? I'm getting fatal error, that is runtime error. What is the reason for this? Can anyone answer this? Try to answer. If I'm going to write down C1 underscore H1 dot C2 underscore H dot B, then I'm not getting it. Why? You can see the class code also. Okay, memory allocation for which one, which handle? Memory allocation for which handle is not done? So where it is showing test bench 24. 24 in the sense this one. Null pointer access it is showing, but it's not the correct line it is showing. Actually, the memory allocation is not done for the class 2 exactly. So here for this C2, the memory allocation is not done because you have just created the handle, but nowhere the memory was created for the C2 class. Okay. So let me uncomment this and let me run this. See, now it's working. Okay. So what I've done over here is within a function new inside my class C1 only, I have declared a function new. And inside this new function, I have written C2 is C2 underscore H is equal to new. That means I'm creating the object for my second class. So whenever I'm going to create my object for my first class handle only, so whenever I'm going to create the object for my C1, okay, where is this? Yeah, this line. So whenever I'm trying to create the object for my C1, C1 underscore H1 is equal to new. This new constructor will be called, which is present inside my C1, and this new constructor is going to create the object for your C2. Okay. So this is what I'm going to use my new function for creating the object for my class C2. Is it clear, guys? How I'm going to create the object for my C2 using the new function without explicitly creating it in the initial block. I can do this particular operation. Yes or no? Is it clear? Or else what I can do is, let me comment this particular line. Here, what I can do is C1 underscore H1 dot C1 underscore H1 dot C2 underscore H is equal to new. Like this also we can create the object. Anyways, you can do it. Okay. Either you can write it down C1 underscore H1 dot C2 underscore H is equal to new, or else you can comment this, and whenever you are going to call the new function, whenever you are going to call the new function of your class C1, you can create the object for the C2. Like this also you can create the object. Okay. You can create it in two ways. Okay. Now, as we have created the object, let me perform the shallow copy again. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, let me display it C1 underscore H1 dot C1 underscore H1 dot C2 underscore H dot display. And I'm going to write down first handle. Okay. And next what I'm going to do is C1 underscore H1 dot C2, sorry, I'm going to use a second class handle. That means this particular handle I'm going to use. Okay. So what is it? C1 underscore H2. C1 underscore H2 dot. The subclass handle is C2 underscore H only. Dot B is equal to 20. Okay. And let me display it. Copy this. Let me display the class 1 and with the class 2. C2. Okay. Now what do you think that is going to happen? Can anyone tell me? And this is second handle, not first handle. This is second handle. Yeah, what is that I'm going to get? Can anyone tell me? Yes, guys. So what we have done over here? So we have just simply created one class like this, which is nothing but my C1. And inside this C1, I have created one more class handle, which is nothing but C2. Okay. And for this C1 class, I have two handles. Let's say H1 and another is H2. Okay. So in C1, I have a property which is A, and C2, I have a property which is B. Okay. Now H1, I have created the object, and this, let's say C2 class handle is uh, H underscore C2. So H underscore C2 is a handle for my C2. Okay. So what I'm going to do, H1 dot H underscore C2 is nothing but my C2 class handle. H1 dot, okay, without confusion, let us take it as C2 only. H1 dot C2 dot B is equal to 10 we have written. Okay. Now, now what we have done, H2, we are copying it. What I'm doing, shallow copy I'm going to do. H2 is equal to nu of H1. And what I'm going to write down, H2 dot C2 dot B is equal to 20. I need to check whether the change which was made over here using the H2 class handle in the subclass property, I'm going to check whether this is being reflected or not. In this particular handle, is it reflected or not? That is my question. Now tell me. Reflected. Okay. Okay. What about others? Any guess what is going to happen? Are you able to follow me? It will be a little bit confusing topic if you are learning it for the first time, but I recommend you to go through for multiple times, then it will be little bit clear. Yeah. So what will be this particular value? Others also please try to have a guess. Okay, let us check it out. What is that we are going to get? So the first class handle, let me comment all the display statements which I am going to get previously. I don't need them now. From here, I need to check it out. Let's check it out. What is that we are going to get? See. So the first class handle, it is displaying the value of B is 10. So we have simply written C1 underscore H1 dot subclass handle dot B is equal to 10. And we are displaying it. We are going to get 10. Okay, well and good. But using the second class handle, we are going to access the subclass handle and we are updating the value of B as 20. Then we are checking whether that particular change has been reflected in first class handle. Yes, the change has been reflected if you carefully observe. Yes or no? Can you able to see? So if any changes which are made with the second handle in the subclass handle, that changes will be reflected in the other handle also. That means we are basically referring to the same object. That means if you are going to have a subclass handle, so let's say we have two handles for our class C1 underscore H1, C1 underscore H2. So this two handles will be having their own objects when we are going to perform shallow copy. But if there is any subclass handle, then these two handles are referring to the same subclass, then they are referring to the same subclass object. This is what it is happening. So if you are going to make any changes to this particular subclass, these changes are reflected in the second handle also. And if you are going to make any changes in this particular thing, then these are reflected in here also. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? Yeah. Can you able to see this? Yes or no? Is it clear? So this is the disadvantage of shallow copy which we are going to have. You can see from the console results also. Yes. So that's about this particular shallow copy disadvantage that we are going to cover it in the deep copy. The disadvantage which we have got in the shallow copy that we are going to rectify in the deep copy. So if we are going to have a subclass handle, then how to copy that subclass handle also, that we are going to use a deep copy method, deep copy process, and we are going to copy it. Okay. Yes. So that's about the session. If you have any doubts or any of the queries you wanted to discuss with me, please let me know so that we can have that particular discussion.